10 times young Sheldon proved its Cooper family is better than TBT's. Hello everyone, my name is Alana. Welcome to my channel. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button. And give this video a like. Up the popular prequel to The Big Bang Theory, Young Sheldon, has shown that the Cooper family is superior to what many first believed. Through the viewpoint of a gifted child, the prequel offshoot follows the young genius as he navigates the typical challenges of growing up. His family dynamics and how they influenced Sheldon's development into the man originally seen in TBT have also been examined throughout the series. The prequel has delved deeply into the character development of Sheldon's family, which hadn't received much attention on TBT. From establishing the beginnings of Mary's TBT falsehoods to discovering that perhaps George Sr. wasn't such a bad father after all. Keeping the characters realistic and nuanced, young Sheldon has provided a comprehensive account of Sheldon's childhood in Texas. The Coopers in the prequel have turned out to be a more moral family than they were in TBT in many respects. Related, Sheldon Young, again, leaned into a serious TBT inconsistency. Because of his passing prior to the events of TBT, fans were first introduced to George Sr. and young Sheldon. Sheldon and his family did not speak well of George in TBT, giving the impression that he was a distant father who didn't give a damn. But he does care intensely, so it couldn't be further from the truth about his family and puts a lot of effort into supporting them. However, George may be about to undergo a major character change because TBT characters are also observing him following his infidelity scandal. Since TBT Sheldon is significantly poorer than his younger version, Sheldon himself is very different in young Sheldon. The prequel softens the traits of TBT's older Sheldon, who is sometimes extremely selfish and oblivious to other people's feelings. A universal issue that many can identify with is Sheldon's struggle to comprehend social conventions and try to fit in while remaining loyal to himself. Although he finds it difficult to communicate or demonstrate it, he has a great deal of sympathy for other people. Mima, a fiery grandmother who sets her own rules, is a fierce character in young Sheldon. Since Mima was essentially Mary Cooper in TBT, with a severe manner and religious fervor, this Mima shift has been unexpected. But seeing her more vulnerable side in young Sheldon is welcome. Though she hardly ever acknowledges it, she has a deep affection for Mary, her grandkids, and George Sr. The fact that she goes above and beyond to defend them when they are in need shows what sort of person Mima is below her tough appearance. Mary Cooper's portrayal in TBT was significantly less positive than that of her younger self in young Sheldon. While Mary Cooper frequently makes fun of religion in TBT, young Sheldon disclosed that she wasn't like that when he was growing up. Mary, who used the phrase "darn tootin'" to disparage Brenda Sparks in an early episode, was among the least inclined to do so, at least not in a severe manner. Her attitude in TBT, however, might be influenced by her expulsion from the church following Georgie/Mandy's pregnancy and their subsequent split. Observing the twins' relationship in young Sheldon has been a delightful experience. It's good to know that Sheldon had someone to rely on during his formative years, even though TBT shows that they didn't continue to have a close relationship into adulthood. Missy is the smartest Cooper kid in many respects, as evidenced by the fact that he was upset when they finally stopped sharing a room and kept asking her for guidance on everything from how to deal with bullies to what bow tie to wear on his first day of college. Early in season 1, Missy was devastated to learn that Sheldon would be moving away to attend a private school. When she woke up and saw him back in the bed across from her, she reacted with joy. Although TBT didn't go into great about Sheldon's sibling relationships, the fact that he was with Missy shows how well he got along with her. It portrays a genuine sibling dynamic, which makes it endearing despite its imperfections. It's good to have Georgie's family supporting him, even though young Sheldon has alluded to Georgie's distance from them. He became closer to George Sr. even after the most recent fiasco, when he and Mima were detained at the border for attempting to sneak cigarettes. Additionally, he has a tighter bond with Sheldon, which isn't discussed in TBD because Georgie had resentment toward Sheldon. Despite the difficulties and criticism it caused their family, the Coopers support him and Mandy, demonstrating how close-knit they appear to have a pleasant life or much luck in her romantic endeavors in TBD. Fortunately, adult Sheldon's voiceover gives away her happy ending by pointing out that, although it isn't addressed in TBD, she does have a third marriage that seems to be going well. Getting to know Missy's character in young Sheldon demonstrates that she has been underutilized from the beginning and deserves to be happy, so it's good to know that she finally receives a happy ending. Related, Georgie was ruined by young Sheldon confirming the Big Bang Theory. The Coopers spend more time together in young Sheldon than in TBD, which carries on the idea of a close-knit family. Although that is to be anticipated, it is nevertheless pleasant to watch, especially since the adult children now have their own families and lives. It's lovely to watch the Coopers spend time together as a family, whether it's at road trips, weekly church services, or carnivals. Despite being sitcoms, young Sheldon and the Big Bang Theory have somewhat different circumstances and tones. Because it is narrated from a child's perspective, young Sheldon has a more whimsical flair, particularly in the early seasons. Even now, as Sheldon matures and more complex concepts are presented, watching young Sheldon is still a fun diversion since it still retains a lot of the innocent childlike quality that makes it unique. The Cooper clan's more complex family relationships, which were covered in TBD, would have prevented young Sheldon. By no means are the Coopers in TBD bad. After all, the fascination with Sheldon and the family initially generated interest in young Sheldon's creation. The Coopers have had many trials, including Missy's personal struggles to settle down, Mary losing the church she was rooted in, Georgie's impending baby, and George Sr.'s infidelity scandal and death in particular. However, TBD reveals that they eventually lost the ability to pull together as a family through good times and bad, as young Sheldon frequently portrays. Given that Sheldon serves as the narrator and has many positive memories of his early years, the Coopers may be viewed through rose-colored glasses in young Sheldon. In any case, the spin-off's family dynamic has given viewers a more complete view of the Coopers than the biased one frequently found in the Big Bang Theory. It's been amazing to see how Sheldon was never really alone before he met the California gang. 10 times young Sheldon proved the Cooper family is way better than the Big Bang Theories. If you're a fan of the Big Bang Theory TBD, then you know the Cooper family is a major part of the show's charm. Sheldon Cooper, the eccentric genius we all love, is part of a family that provides some of the most hilarious and touching moments. But what if we told you that young Sheldon's version of the Cooper family is even better than the one we grew to know in the Big Bang Theory? That's right. Over the course of young Sheldon, we've seen so many heartwarming, hilarious, and downright unforgettable moments that make the Coopers from young Sheldon feel like the ultimate family, better than TBDs in every way. Let's take a deep dive into 10 times young Sheldon absolutely proved the Cooper family is superior to the one we saw in the Big Bang Theory. 1. Mima, the ultimate matriarch. In the Big Bang Theory, Sheldon's mom, Mary Cooper, is often the stern and religious figure in his life. But young Sheldon introduced us to Mima, Sheldon's grandmother, who is nothing short of a legend. Mima is sassy, smart, and has an unmatched relationship with Sheldon. Not only does she understand Sheldon like no one else, but she also brings the perfect blend of tough love and humor. It's hard to imagine the Big Bang Theory's Mary being able to pull off the same level of charm and wisdom as Mima does on the regular. Mima doesn't just sit in the background either. She's an active force in Sheldon's life. Her interactions with Sheldon are a hilarious and loving dynamic that adds so much to young Sheldon. She's the kind of grandmother you wish you had, and her no-nonsense attitude often outshines Mary Cooper's traditional and more religious approach. 2. George Cooper Sr., the father we all wish we had. In The Big Bang Theory, Sheldon's dad is an off-screen figure who we know very little about. In contrast, young Sheldon gives us a front-row seat to George Cooper Sr.'s life as a father, and wow, he's way better than the vague concept we saw in TBD. George Sr. is tough, but caring, down-to-earth, and has the perfect balance of discipline and humor when it comes to raising of young Sheldon is seeing how George Sr. supports Sheldon, even though he doesn't always understand him. Whether it's pushing Sheldon to get involved in sports or giving him advice in a way only a father could, George Cooper Sr. brings a warmth and depth to the Cooper family that we never saw in TBD. This version of George is relatable, real, and someone you just wish you could sit down and have a beer with. 3. Mary Cooper, a more dynamic version of Sheldon's mom. While Mary Cooper in TBDT is kind, loving, and religious, she sometimes comes across as one-dimensional. In young Sheldon, however, Mary is given much more depth. As Sheldon's mom, she constantly struggles to balance her faith with raising an incredibly unique child, and her vulnerability and complex emotions make her far more relatable and multidimensional than the Mary we see in TBD. Young Sheldon allows us to see her as more than just a loving, church-going mom. She's a woman trying to keep her family together and make sense of the challenges that come with raising a brilliant but challenging child. Her struggles with George Sr.'s infidelity and the stresses of daily life make her character so much more layered and interesting. 4. Sheldon Cooper's evolution, from weird genius to relatable prodigy. While The Big Bang Theory showcases Sheldon as an adult who has mastered his quirks, young Sheldon gives us the chance to see him grow and evolve as a child. The way Sheldon navigates the challenges of being a genius in a world that doesn't understand him is nothing short of captivating. From his childhood struggles with socializing to his attempts at understanding the world around him, young Sheldon shows a more vulnerable and lovable version of Sheldon that TBD only touched upon. We get to watch Sheldon as he begins to discover his passions, make mistakes, and figure out how to relate to his family and peers. This journey makes him feel more human than the almost unapproachable character we see in TBD. 5. The Coopers' family dynamic, more love, less drama. In The Big Bang Theory, we see Sheldon's family, but the focus is primarily on Sheldon's relationships with his friends and work. In Young Sheldon, the show really explores the Cooper family's dynamics. There's a deep love and connection between each family member that's truly heartwarming. Unlike TBD, where Sheldon often seems isolated from his family, young Sheldon shows us a Sheldon who is loved and understood by his family, even if they don't always get him. From George Sr. and Mary's loving yet complicated marriage to Sheldon's relationship with his siblings, the Coopers in Young Sheldon are a family that genuinely cares for each other. They have their problems, but at the end of the day, they come together in a way that feels real and genuine. It's refreshing compared to the more disconnected family interactions we see in TBD. 6. Georgie Cooper, the bad brother who turns into a hero. Georgie in The Big Bang Theory was mostly a background character who didn't get a lot of love, but young Sheldon has made him a surprisingly complex and endearing character. Initially, Georgie seems like a typical rebellious older brother who isn't particularly intelligent, but as the show goes on, we get to see him grow into someone who's got a lot of heart. His evolving relationship with Sheldon and the way he steps up to support his family makes him an unexpectedly strong presence in the Cooper family. Georgie's character development in Young Sheldon adds so much to the Cooper family dynamic, and we've really started rooting for him. He's not just the troublemaker, He's the guy who's working hard to make a better life for himself and his family. 7. The sibling rivalry, more heartfelt than ever. In The Big Bang Theory, Sheldon's relationship with his brother, Georgie, is mostly a background story with occasional jokes about their rivalry. In Young Sheldon, however, the sibling rivalry between Sheldon and Georgie feels much more real and relatable. The show does an incredible job of showing how they constantly clash but still deeply care for one another. Whether it's Sheldon's obnoxious intelligence or Georgie's rebellious streak, Young Sheldon shows us how they're both working through their differences while still growing together as brothers. This sibling dynamic adds layers to Sheldon's character that we never saw in TBBT, and we get to watch Georgie evolve into a stronger character too. 8. The Coopers' humor, sharper and funnier than ever. While The Big Bang Theory often relies on witty, intellectual humor, Young Sheldon brings a much more charming, family-based sense of humor. The Coopers aren't just quirky, they're genuinely funny in a way that's grounded in their relationships with each other. Sheldon's awkwardness, George Sr.'s sarcastic dad jokes, and Mima's one-liners are the perfect mix of Young Sheldon is more heart-centered, whereas TBBT can sometimes feel like it's trying too hard to be funny. The Coopers' unique charm makes them stand out. 9. Sheldon and his family, a deeper emotional connection. Young Sheldon gives us a deeper look into Sheldon's emotions and his relationship with his family, especially in moments when he needs them the most. In TBBT, Sheldon's interactions with his family often feel more distant and superficial. But in Young Sheldon, we see how his family plays a pivotal role in shaping who he becomes, from helping him navigate the awkwardness of growing up to supporting his genius. Whether it's Sheldon's emotional moments with Mary or George Sr.'s quiet acts of love and support, the Coopers in Young Sheldon are the emotional backbone that makes the show special. 10. The Cooper family legacy, built on love and growth. Ultimately, what sets the Cooper family apart in Young Sheldon is their ability to grow together. In The Big Bang Theory, we see the end result of Sheldon's family life, but in Young Sheldon, we get to witness the origins of what made the Cooper family so strong. It's a family that evolves over time, learning from each other and becoming better versions of themselves. Each character, from Sheldon to Mima, plays a role in shaping one another, and their bond is unbreakable. This love and growth is something that makes the Coopers in Young Sheldon not only more relatable, but just plain better than the family we saw in The Big Bang Theory. Conclusion: the Coopers are simply unmatched. Young Sheldon has done what The Big Bang Theory could never quite achieve. It's made the Cooper family more lovable, relatable, and real than ever before. From the hilarious and heartwarming moments between Sheldon and his family to the deeper emotional connections, Young Sheldon has proven time and time again that the Coopers in this show are simply better than the ones we saw in The Big Bang Theory. So, if you're not watching Young Sheldon yet, what are you waiting for? The Cooper family has never been better, and trust us, you won't regret it. What do you think?